Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. Today I'm going to show you the second game of the finals matchup in the Riga Grand Prix. With the white pieces we have Maxime Vachier-Lagrave, and with black we have Shakhriyar Mamedyarov. MVL is in a must-win situation after his loss yesterday with the black pieces in the Grunfeld defense. So today he has the white pieces. He opened the game with e4, Mamedyarov played e5, and we see the Joker piano on the board. So you could strike in the center with d4, but here Maxime opted for d3. And after the game, Maxime said that he did not mind positions that looked slow at first sight, because with more pieces on the board, the side that wishes to make a draw will face more challenging decisions. And here Mamedyarov played a5. He goes for this line popularized by Ding. So with a5, this eventually intends to maneuver the queen to a7, where it will put pressure on the g1 a7 diagonal, as seen here. So bishop e3 from MVL, bishop takes, knight to e7, pawn to a4. Up to this point, we have been following the game of Carlsen versus Ding from 2017. And here Mamedyarov played rook a to d8, which is the new move in the position. So the game between Carlsen and Ding continued with knight g6, but here rook a d8 played, and the idea is to go c6 followed by d5. MVL played bishop to c4. Seems like a waste of tempo, but this was done with a good reason. For one, MVL is simply preempting this idea of c6 and d5. And the second reason, well, after the exchanges, bishop takes c4, knight takes. This leaves white with a nice knight on c4, which makes it difficult for Mamedyarov to break with d5 because of the pressure here. So now knight d7. Shakhriyar said that this was simply a bad move, which gave him a bad position out of the opening. Perhaps he could have played something along the lines of rook to e8 and something like knight g6, trying to control e5. I don't think knight d7 was a catastrophe. Black is not losing immediately after this move. He might have plans of pushing f5. There are also ideas of trying to play knight c5 to imitate the strong knights on c4. But Mamedyarov pointed out that knight c5 would simply run into d4, which MVL played. He broke with d4, utilizing his nice knight on c4 and denying black the chance to break with f5, because if f5, this simply loses a pawn and leads to a bad position. So e5 is under attack. Mamedyarov responded with queen a6, hitting the knight. The knight dropped back. So once again, f5 is impossible. This simply drops a pawn, and white would have a nice advantage. There's also this uncomfortable pin. Therefore, Mamedyarov abandons his plan and played the rook over to e8. So here e takes d4 from Mamedyarov, and MVL played knight takes d4. This is a strong move and better than the natural capture with c takes d4. With this move, white is eyeing some important squares, which are the f5 square and the b5 square. On b5, the knight would pressure c7, and also d6. So c6 would be difficult to achieve, to try and boot that knight away, also with the intention of breaking with d5, because then d6 would be hanging. And on f5, the knight would also pressure these 2 points, d6 and g7. And unfortunately for black, with the knight on f5, if he captures, white can always recycle another knight onto f5. In addition to controlling these squares, White has also freed up the possibility of going f3, which we will soon witness the effects of. Here's c6 played. Mamedyarov clearly felt uncomfortable in this position, so he wants to break in the center, but now he has allowed MVL to attack two weaknesses. Knight d to f5, so hitting g7 and d6. Knight f6 played. So after c6, it seems logical to follow it up with knight c5, since now b7 will no longer open up the queen's attack on c7. And here white will proceed to continue putting pressure on d6. But I guess Mamedyarov rejected this variation because this gives white a pleasant edge due to the isolated pawn and ideas like lifting the rook over to g3. So Mamedyarov played knight f6. The problem with knight f6 is that after rook a to d1, d5 would run into the move e5. And after this variation, white will gain a few tempi against the knight. And white has a nice grip on the d6 square, and the potential kingside thrust gives white a nice advantage. So Mamedyarov played knight c8, defending that, which doesn't look good for Shak. And now MVL played f3, preparing to transfer his queen over to the attack. Note that if black tries king h7, with the idea of trying to boot this knight away with g6, then white can play e5, and if that's taken, then knight d6 check, followed by picking up the rook. If he tries rook takes e5, then there's a very nice tactical variation in knight takes h6. And here the pawn is pinned. If black tries queen b6 check, white can simply block with the rook. He is up the exchange. Well, g6, white can simply go king h1. If that's taken, after queen takes f5, king to g7, queen g5 check wins back the knight with a crushing position. And finally, if black tries g6, white can simply capture the knight with a great position. If black recaptures, white will have simply a crushing attack. So Mamedyarov played d5 in this position. Now let's watch how Maxime realized his advantage. So he played queen f2, rook e6 from Mamedyarov. There might be more accurate ways of defending this position, but already black's position is very difficult. Queen g3, just threatening mate, therefore knight to e8. And here Maxime simply just took a pawn. And in this position, black has no compensation. Down a pawn, and his pieces are very uncoordinated, especially these disconnected rooks, which were hit with queen to h4. Now, if rook takes e1 and rook takes d5, white regains the material with rook takes e8 and queen e4 check with a superior position. So you can't block with queen e6 because of knight takes g7, winning the queen. So after queen h4, Mamedyarov played rook to d7, MVL played knight d to e3, offering a trade which was surprisingly declined by Mamedyarov. Mamedyarov played knight c to d6, and this allowed Maxime to reposition his knights on more effective squares. And after knight e5, Mamedyarov resigned. If rook e7, then there's the discovery, knight g6 check. Both queen and rook are attacking e7. And if rook c7, then queen d8. The threat is to go knight d7, and this is simply crushing. Brilliant win from Maxime, tying the score of the match. And now the winner will be decided in the tiebreaks. If you enjoyed the video and want to see more chess content, feel free to subscribe to the channel, it's free. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you soon.